They do slap. They do.
They're like Switchfoot, but like more Christian.
Yeah. Oh yeah, didn't like Switchfoot become like supportive of
Yeah,
it?
they switched faiths, so.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
right.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah, that's tough. Everybody is abandoning, so it's hard to do the right thing in a world that loves wrong.
So. Yeah, I know.
All right, so we'll get started here. We just want to start it out however you want. You guys have an intro that you want? You want me to say something
I can sing a
specific?
song.
in
Do
the
you have like one
beginning?
of those movies
sing
like
my-
behind the scenes things that we can do? Like, we do that. We can do that for an intro.
You want like a cut?
Yeah, like a cut.
I can sing my Barbie girl song.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. You
No,
can start.
I'm not. I'm embarrassed now.
Yeah, it's recorded for eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, anything that you record with your eyes is going to be maintained for eternity, so I could just embarrass you forever.
No, I mean.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Feel the guilt and shame of your.
I live with it. It's unbearable, man.
Yeah. All right. So, how do we want to enter this? What are we going to call this thing? You're the pilot, so you get to decide what it's called.
Staff-
Not the staff cast.
The staff
Not the
cast.
staff cast.
Why not?
I guess we can
It
just.
just
I mean,
sounds,
is, this
I don't know, it just sounds dumb.
is this the first episode? We can just call it pilot. I'm fine with that.
Pilot?
Yeah, it's the first
Can
episode.
any of us
first,
fly?
like the first
No, no,
episode.
like, that's-
Can any of us
show
fly?
or
No,
like
no,
podcast
pilot-
is named
I
Pilot.
Pilot
think
is usually- yeah,
mine probably
they usually-
Loki has his pilot's license.
They usually have pilot as the name of the first series.
Like,
name of the
So
first-
here's what we're gonna say. We're gonna call this podcast "Standing Before Pilate." I'll ask the questions, you answer.
As a pilot?
Yeah,
But are we supposed to not answer because Jesus didn't?
he did.
Well, the one, but like most of them he didn't.
Yeah.
So you answer the one and don't answer.
Which one should I not? Which one should I answer?
So we'll call it. This podcast is called "Standing Before Pilate," where I put your summer camp staff on the spot,
Mhm.
so you could hear what they're about, what kingdom do they belong to, and what are they hoping to achieve in this camp world at PMBC. Today I have Eli, Ethan, and Julia. Eli and Ethan don't know each other. I made a mistake there. Eli and Julia go to the same church, and Ethan comes from afar at Valley Forge Christian Academy.
He's one of us already, though.
We're all one of us.
I
right?
feel welcome already. It's been a week.
I feel like we're
That's
already
good.
like best friends.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Fellow Philadelphia.
Facts. We
Eagles,
sympathize
Yeah.
with Philadelphia sports. That's yeah.
Yeah, well, one of the key things is to target the new guy, okay? So, coming from your interview that I held with you, your first interview,
Yeah.
where I basically said, why don't you go read the Bible a little bit? How do you feel now that you're on site? Do you feel a little bit more comfortable? Like, yeah, this guy's not quite as nerve-wracking as I thought it might be.
I don't know. I don't know. You still scare me sometimes. I don't know. I feel like one of these days you're just gonna pull a very mean like senior type high school prank on me.
It's
I
possible.
don't know. Like I'm gonna open a door and all of a sudden there's gonna be a slab of concrete on my foot.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll jump off of that, right? Now that I'm titled as the villain here, I'm gonna stand before Pilate, so I've got like a role to fill.
Are they actually calling it that?
Yeah. Oh, we already decided that. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I thought it was a joke.
it's recorded into
Well,
history.
we recorded we recorded a lot, like the Barbie song intro.
Unless you're,
Yeah.
Unless you're
Idea that I
Right.
need to sing.
The idea that you didn't do because
Should I do it?
Jesus, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
I think you should.
Ethan,
Yeah.
what coming off of that story, right? What kind of first impression do you want the parents to get from you? What do you want the parents to really understand about your counseling style and your view of what you hope to achieve in their kids' lives?
When I think of a first impression, I think the number one thing I usually go for is, hey, he's very energetic, but he's very welcoming, and he makes sure he always makes sure to include all the campers equally to make sure no one's really being left out. That's what I usually try to aim for the first impression.
Okay, so now what do you think people will say in reality?
He did the exact opposite. No, I mean, I really hope not, God forbid, and that's what I usually aim for. But again, I will try my hardest. If I have to scope out all the campers and all the cabins, I will.
Yeah. And whose strength do you hope to complete this summer's gauntlet of troubles?
Like in terms of an attribute, like towards me.
Whose strength? Where are you going to get strength from to finish this race that you're running?
Oh, God's strength, of course. Through abiding in Him.
Now,
Because He is the vine.
I wanted to throw. He's what?
He is the vine.
That's right.
I am the branches.
You are the branches. Can you show us what that looks like?
I am the vine. I am the branch. Wait.
No.
Oh my God. Yeah. He is the vine, I am the branches.
Okay,
That's
good.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, camp isn't perfect, right? And our counselors are never going to be perfect,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's important that parents understand that.
Mhm.
So parents, when you understand that, like, we're flawed individuals who trained for 2 weeks, and we are relying on Jesus to help get us through. And I'm no different, right? I've been the director for 8 years, and I'm still trying to figure this out. So we rely on Jesus, we preach the Bible, and we try to love on the kids as much as we can. Eli, you've been a counselor, this is your second year,
Yeah.
all right? How do you feel this year compared to your first year?
A lot less nervous, like a lot looser, and like more myself.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But coming in from last year, knowing a little bit more than Ethan does, what's your biggest, like, this has got me nervous, or like, I'm really stressing about this?
I'm not like a stressed person, so I'm not like really that nervous. Like I know that like God wants me here, so I'm just like chilling with whatever comes my way.
Okay?
I don't know. If that makes sense.
Yeah. What was the biggest difference that a camper made in your life last summer?
I think just like seeing my first week, I had this really tough camper, really tough home situation. Like this kid's like 8 years old and going through something tougher than I will ever even think of going through, and that was just like wow. Like they were like, I don't know, like I thought they were 8 years old. They were just gonna be like drooling or something. Like I didn't know what 8-year-olds acted like, and I realized like they had like a lot more. Like we really could have like, real conversations about Jesus with them, and like really see lives change. And like at the end of the week, like we talked a lot. Like he was crying, and his eyes out, like he got saved and stuff. It was really cool to like see. And I don't like. I genuinely was like I didn't think it was gonna be that deep of a conversation. I thought it was just gonna be like Jesus loves you down on the cross, like simple stuff.
Yeah, we're in a world that you have to grow up fast, and the kids are growing up fast. Julie, you've been here the longest out of these two guys. What is it? Is it 3 or 4 years now?
This is my third year counseling.
Okay, so you started 2020.
Yeah.
From 2020 to 2022, what did you recognize? Did you recognize a difference in the kids from that time that you were here?
Yes. So in 2020, we had a lot of changes going on because of COVID, and legally we couldn't do things that we would normally do at camp. So a lot of the kids were separated, and I also think a lot of the kids lacked a lot of social skills, if you could say, because they were isolated for a long time because you weren't really allowed to talk to people.
Okay.
But I think camp helped them also work through that because they made friends within their cabin as well.
Yeah, now post 2020, one of the hard things is the pandemic's just beginning. The kids are just getting into this world of disconnection from human interaction and moving to virtual interaction. We have them at camp. We have this super structured program now because it's the only way we can make it work with the government, right? And we're not gonna miss out on our mission of getting the gospel to kids. So we're making this work anyway. We have this super structured year where everything is kind of managed to the microscopic level. Like it's truly micromanaged, everything. And then we try to go back to normal. And when you came back to when things were back to normal, would you say the kids are back to normal or no?
So I would say, I mean, in 2020, I think I had a lot like more difficulty with campers because it was my first year. I think in 2022, I had a little more experience, you know. I worked a little bit more with kids by that time, so I think I kind of knew how to handle situations better. As far as their behavior goes, I think that a lot of kids are still desensitized to socialization, still because of what happened in 2020. But I think this helps them slowly get back to, you know, maybe back to normal.
Yeah. What is your goal, and in what way do you hope to help your cabin specifically connect together in a way where they really understand one another, where they're coming from, and bond, not just as a cabin, but bond toward growing in the Lord?
So when my campers first come into the cabin, I make sure to greet them all individually, and I get them together. We play a lot of like get to know you games and a lot of group games together as a cabin, so we're not like cliquey, if you will.
Okay.
So that way they'll be able to bond as a cabin and not like leave anyone behind. I try my best to not make sure no one's like left out really. And when you build that relationship with your cabin and they're one, they will want to listen to you more when you share the gospel, especially for nighttime devos, and they'll open up to you more with questions that they have.
Okay, that's good. Ethan.
Yeah.
You don't have any experience coming in here.
Yeah, I don't. This is the first time I've ever worked at a camp, or been at a camp too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're like you're coming in hot here, right? Andy Mineo. You ever see the video?
I think I know what you're talking
The
about.
cover's better.
The cover is better.
Yeah.
Who covers?
The one, I don't know what his name is, but he wrote one about like tater tots. It's better.
Okay, well, I'll have to check it out.
I thought it was cool as anyone,
All right, but you don't have anything to fall back on,
yeah.
right? How are you perceiving counseling to be? Like, what is your ideal scenario? And then these two are going to tell you whether that's reality or dreamland, okay?
Okay, so yeah, I probably might get this wrong, but I'll try my best. So I was an ARA. If you don't know what an ARA is, it's basically an RA in college, but it's like the assistant RA,
Right.
which is kind of like that. I served as an ARA last year, my sophomore year in college, and I got to really understand like how leadership works, because that was also my first leadership role. I was always usually the quiet person in the group. That's why I describe myself as an ambivert.
Yeah.
Kind of in between.
Yeah, Jesus said, hey, you're quiet. I'm going to challenge that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He definitely did. That year was full of challenges. So yeah, heading into this year, obviously I go from a bunch of 18 to 20-year-olds to a bunch of 8 to 17-year-olds. It's a big change.
Well, I mean, it's smaller than you might think, but...
Oh really? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess I might be. My mind just might not be switched completely.
Maybe we just have a different surrounding of 20-year-olds, but
Yeah.
8-year-olds, 20-year-olds,
Who knows?
yeah.
Yeah. So the way I see this, and yeah, I probably might get this wrong, but I see us as, because we are disciples, and our ideal job is to build disciples. As disciples, we build disciples, if that makes sense. We not only spread the gospel, but we also give an example of who we are as Christians, about full-time people who have a relationship.
Absolutely.
Did I explain that well?
You explained what you
Did I answer that well?
you feel like you are going to be a disciple making disciples, right?
We technically all can be. Everyone has their own talents and gifts,
Yeah.
because God has given
But
us.
how do you see the week going? Like, she shared a little bit about her experience. Julie was talking about 2020, 2022, what that was like. What do you see? How do you see your week playing out?
Well, because I'm stepping right into it with nothing to fall back on. I know that I'm probably gonna get stressed out. Like I'm not expecting, oh yeah, it's gonna be so fun, it's gonna be great. I'm totally not gonna get stressed out at all. No, I'm coming into this always expect the unexpected. Like I'm always ready. Like if anything has to happen, I'll be on my feet. And if a kid has to come to me about any concerns he has, if the Bible, or if he's having any troubles with the camp, I'll be ready for that, and I'll be prepared for that. So that's
Okay.
what I see it as.
Yeah. So you talk about like being stressed out.
Yeah.
Right? And it happens to all camp staff, right? It's not like, parents shouldn't be surprised. Parents, if you're surprised, shame on you, right? We get stressed out. You have 10 kids, you're going to be stressed, they're going to be stressed. What is in your mind, what is your system or your mechanism, or what is your go-to to break yourself out of that stress mentality, and how are you going to help the kids break out of that mentality when they get stuck in it?
I think the best thing for me to do is just to remind myself that God has us under control, and that man shall not live on bread alone, but by his word and every single thing that comes out of his mouth. That's what usually I think of. And what was the second part of the question?
I don't remember myself. How are you gonna help the kids break out of that stress?
What I can do is, I think the whole strategy with being very welcoming with everyone and making sure that everyone has someone to talk to in that cabin. I think that's a good way to start.
Okay.
And I think the get to know you games that Julia was talking about can also really work with breaking out of their bubbles. Because I was that person. I was the person that didn't talk to anyone. I was the person that was always the quiet person at the lunch table. I was always that person. So I know how it feels. And I know that the only way for me to break out of that bubble was when in my freshman year in college, when I finally got out of it, I got to really know my ARA well, who was also my RA in my sophomore year.
Yeah.
So I think what these kids need, and yes, I know they're not 19 like I was, but I think what they need, they just need someone to come talk to them finally and break them out of this bubble. And I think that's what I got to do if I ever run into a bunch of introverts in my cabinet. I know that's gonna probably happen.
Okay. Yeah, and you mentioned they're not 20-year-olds, but like Eli was talking about, they come in with these heavy things that you just don't expect, and you're like, wow, they've lived a full life. They're 8 years old and they've had to deal with this heavy stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, Eli's talked about all this weight so far, so I want to lighten it up for him because I don't want him buried over there and like it's all heavy stuff. What is the most endearing moment that you've had in your cabin where you're just like, wow, this is just like genuinely, I could put this on what's that TV station that plays all those corny movies around Christmas and everything like that?
Hallmark?
Is it Hallmark Channel? Is there another one?
No, it's not Showtime. It's
BBC.
Lifetime?
Lifetime.
Is it Lifetime that does
Yeah,
it?
Lifetime.
So like, give us like, what's the Lifetime movie script that you've experienced at summer camp?
Ooh, that is hard because there's a couple. I think my favorite, I can't remember his name, but it's fine because I couldn't say it on here anyway. Last year, I had this camper, and he was just like the cutest little kid. He had the biggest smile no matter what we were doing, and he was obsessed with me and my co-counselor. Like, followed us around. He kept like, he was like, he wanted him to be our, whatever. He wanted to be our son. I don't know what the word I'm trying to find.
Our son.
He wanted us to be his dad. That's what I was gonna say. Like,
That's a congratulations.
And he was just so fun. And then the what was it, like junior week, the second week, he came and he like sprinted up to hug me. He was so happy to see me, and it was just, I don't know, it was really nice.
Yeah, so that was a return camper who wanted to be in your cabin again.
Yeah.
And was just excited because you built a relationship.
Yeah.
And those relationships are super important.
Yeah, and then like on Friday night, me and Mikey would like stay up kind of late with him, and we were just joking around in this bed like the whole time, and just cracking up, and it was just like the funniest, funnest thing I've ever done here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Paul talks about that too, like becoming a spiritual father for the people that he is investing in. And he talks about, we are adopted in Christ, but we also, like, in a sense, adopt the people that we are trying to train up and treat them as if they are our own sons. Guys, don't play footsie.
I'm not.
What is
I
it?
accidentally hit his foot trying to crack
It's
my ankle.
very
Yeah,
very
but that
tight in
is-
this space
It's
right
really
here.
tight.
It's really
space
tight.
Yeah, I know.
And like,
It is.
I don't
My
know.
office. If I turned the camera and you looked at my office, you would, I don't know.
I look at you
On
cleaned it
this
up
wonderful-
today for
On this
this.
wonderful tripod
Yeah.
camera.
I was
we
in
use.
here earlier.
I
It
set
wasn't
this
good.
up.
Very professional.
It's very camp-like. But, so you talk about that endearing moment, you talk about how that impacts you as kids coming to you and getting that investment and then reciprocating it, right? Because it's not just you give this love to the kids and you show them the gospel, but when they respond and you form some kind of bond, you know that's going to go somewhere. What drove you to camp in the first place? Like, how did you even end up at PMBC?
A lot of things. Like, so I was still like in a season of my life that I was starting to accept, like, to just listen to God and listen to his calling, but I was still kind of fighting it. And still like having like, I don't know what I want to do, I don't know what he wants me to do, but then he would tell me what he wants me to do, and I'd be like, no, that's not what I want to do, so that must not be what he wants me to do. And then Julia texted me one day and she was like, hey, like, they need like extra help here and stuff. And she's like, I think you would be good. She texted me and my friend. She's like, I think you guys would be good. And I was like, off the bat, like, I didn't tell this to her, I didn't text her back about it, but I was like, absolutely not. Like, there's like no way I'm doing this.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, there was like,
Are you kidding me?
I was like, there's no way I'm going to this camp. Like, this is my senior year summer. I am staying home. I'm having
I'm
fun.
going to relax. I don't want to do this job.
I went into camp once. It wasn't here, and I hated it. Like, I was like, absolutely not. And then it was like, I don't know, I'm kind of thinking about doing it. And I was like, no, like, don't do that. Like, and then he was like, I don't know. And so I was like, all right, whatever, I'll pray about it. And God was like, yeah, you should do it. And I was like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
But I was like, I sent in my application anyway, and I talked to you, and you were like, okay, I was like, this guy seems legit. He seems like he knows what he's talking about. Because the guy who was at my last camp was just like,
It was tough.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think I could grow here. And then I was just praying about it a lot. And it was like, the Lord was trying to open my eyes of like, no, like, go where I send you. And then he gave me like verses like in Isaiah and stuff that sort of become like my like Lord verse about like Isaiah saying like, here I am, send me. And I was like, that's the attitude I have to have.
Yeah.
And if the Lord is sending me here, then just go. It's not like a but I don't want to.
Yeah, that's not an easy attitude to have.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning it. But I mean, it was right around that time I made a lot of changes in my life. I switched like what college I was going to go to, what like degree I was going to pursue. Like everything in my life was changing because I had for so long been like, yeah, I love God, but like not actually listening to like where He called me in my life. I don't know. It
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, being here is an investment. And you were like, I'm investing in this. I really got to make sure.
And like I'm a city boy. Like I don't come up to the mountains. And,
Yeah.
And it was like I was like, this is gonna be hell. And I was like, I didn't even know we didn't have our phones, but I was like, there's gonna be. And like, not that I'm addicted, but I was like, there should be no internet. What if something happens and I like need like help?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if that makes sense. Like there's no one here. You can't yell and get help. I don't even know. Is there 911 up here?
Yeah, there's 911.
Yeah. Yes.
There is. Okay.
Yeah.
Cause like.
I believe me, they train the horses to run really quick with the buggy.
Like,
No,
no,
we have
for real.
ambulances. Yeah. So you had mentioned that Julia was instrumental in you ending up at camp. Julia, what impacted you so much through your years at camp that you said, you know what? I'm going to tell the people that I know about it. So not only am I going to invest in it myself, but I'm going to bring along other people and I'm going to vouch for this camp and risk somebody else coming here, and who knows what's going to happen. What about the camp and what God is doing at the camp through you made you say, this is a good place for me to have somebody I know invest?
So I've been involved with this camp for a while. I've camped here for a long time, and then I worked in 2020. And I think I signed up for 2022, and Debbie actually texted me. She said like, hey, do you know, I think she specifically said that you guys needed 2 men, like 2 young men. And I was like...
Is it nice to be described as men?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that nice?
She might have said, I would have to look at the text.
She might have said
She might have said
This is
boys.
the only comment I've ever gotten.
Listen, don't get ahead of yourself. She might have
Yeah.
said boys. I'm just being nice. So she like specifically texted me like 2, and I was like, I have 2, you know,
Yeah.
that are available for the summertime. They have like literally nothing going on.
Okay.
So I think
I had
we
stuff
created.
going.
No, you didn't. So I created like a group chat, and I sent like the link where I said, hey, this is the camp that I work at for this summer. One of my bosses reached out to me and
Yeah.
asked like, we specifically need like 2 boys or men, and
Yep.
if they sign up. And Aiden, I think, was right on board with it. He didn't reply for a while, but
Like you said, he didn't plan on it, right?
Yeah, he didn't. I didn't know.
Praise
But
God he got involved, and God was like, hey,
I'm also a
Yeah.
classic
Point
like
answer.
just doesn't respond when I don't want to say no.
But
yeah,
I also think that like I always tell everybody about this camp when I get a chance to. Like if my friends are involved, they work at schools, I'm like, I'll tell your students to like come to camp in the summer, like to like come to
Yeah.
camp, because it's very impactful. It impacted me as a child, and I like being a part of a movement where you can impact children in a godly way. And I know a lot of people who want to serve the Lord very badly, and I think that they would do good here. So
Yeah.
I always kind of just throw it out
so you
there.
put it out there, and it worked. So you as a veteran of the group, and Ethan as the rookie, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
What is one thing that you would tell Ethan that you wish you knew coming in your first year?
Well, that was hard because first year was 2020 for me.
I understand that, but
I would say that it's, you don't know everything especially when you work with these kids. You're getting a bunch of kids with like a whole bunch of different personalities pushed into one cabin with you, and somehow you have to make all of these personalities compatible with each other and try to get them to get along and be respectful and listen and have fun at the same time. So it's
Yeah.
going to be very difficult. But when you go and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna like watch over some kids, yeah, there might have them, some of them might be rowdy, some of them may be disrespectful, but no, you are working with people, with like kids who either have really rough home lives, like whole bunch of different stories, a bunch of stuff that they're dealing with at such a young age, and a lot of different personalities that you somehow have to make work
Yeah.
within
Yeah, sometimes
one
you get a
cabin.
50-50 cabin where
Yeah.
these are church kids who they know the answers and know the right thing, and then you have other kids who have no clue,
Yeah.
and you have to try to bring them together in unity.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always go as smooth as the theoretical, and like the manual, the training, you learn really quickly. Like, what is, hey, this is an option. Wouldn't it be great if it worked? Here's reality.
Yeah.
Pray harder. I mean, that's really what comes out.
Yeah, and I would also say, like, even as the years that you work, that's still going to remain the same. Like, yeah, you might learn how to deal with, like, certain situations better, but that part is always going to be difficult. Like, no matter how often you work at camp, like, that's always going to be a challenge to try to unify the cabin.
Now let's switch it up a little bit. You came in for your second year. Things were different, but you had some experience.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to Eli about his second year? He's got experience too. He's coming in his second year. Any advice for him? Like, it's your second year. You're feeling this on this smooth path. You're pretty comfortable. Is there some advice that you would have for
I
him
don't get nervous.
as a second year?
Get nervous.
I just,
No, don't actually. But
I'm not like a person that's like, in the moment I'm like, oh, this is tough. But beforehand, I'm not like.
Yeah.
I don't get nervous.
Would you say it's get ready for new challenges?
I would, because I think every week is like because you're getting a new set of kids, that's a new challenge that you have to learn. You're adapting to a new thing every single week, no matter how much you train, because you're working with different kids. So you're always having these new challenges over and over again. It's not something that you're going to get used to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're getting, like I said, a whole bunch of like different kids every single week that you don't know, that you have to learn to know, that you have to teach, and you're the only person that they're looking up to. So I would say is let them see like Jesus through you, because they're young. Some of them might not even go to church or have Christian families. Sometimes like parents like just put them in Christian camps hoping it would fix their kid, but this could actually have an impact on kids' life as they grow into adulthood. I know that's what happened for me.
Yeah, and you can't fix behavior in a week. Parents, do you understand that? we don't know what the kid's behavior is going to be like. We can't fix it in a week, but our target is we can love them well through the week, and that's what's going to make all the difference in the long run. Now you're getting ready for your. Super Smash Brothers, a new challenger has entered. This is what your year looks like, right? You're like, I'm ready. I know how this game is played.
No, that's
and then
not
boom,
it.
a new challenger enters the scene.
It's that I know that God has me here. So like, I'm not like, what am I gonna be nervous about? Like, I'm where God has me. Like, He's in control. He's got me.
Honestly, when God is involved, I get nervous about what is He gonna do. Because it's always interesting. It's always exciting.
It's exciting to me.
But,
I'm not nervous.
I mean, it's a journey. It's like a roller coaster. I love roller coasters, but I still get freaked out when I'm on a roller coaster.
I'm a little baby. I cannot.
I find them boring, to be honest with you.
I've been on like 2 in my life, and they were like the little baby ones. And no, I can't.
Man.
We're going to Six Flags.
No, never.
Yeah, you can handle it.
I couldn't.
You can handle
No,
it. You can handle it.
If you close your eyes,
no, because
all right,
what if you die?
You
can't die from 8 kids, 10 kids.
I don't get stressed out. Roller coaster. All right.
So I never said I'm gonna stress. I said I'm gonna get.
Technically, you're on a roller coaster right now.
This
you
is
said
right.
I'm not a stressed person.
I'm not.
I'm not stressed.
I just don't like it.
He seems to be pretty stressed to make sure that nobody thinks that he's stressed.
He's getting stressed thinking about it right now.
Show us the example how to be
see my ears.
Yeah. Show us the example of how to be calm, and I'm gonna let Ethan take us out here.
Okay.
Ethan, from your experience in training week.
Yes.
Okay. Why do you think, from what you've seen in training week and how you bond with your staff, why do you think parents should send their children to PMBC and put them in the care of the staff here?
From what I've got to know, when I came to this camp, I only knew one person, and it was the person who recruited me. It was Joel Cordero.
Joel.
Yeah. Shout out to him.
Joel.
Shout out to
Love
Joel.
that kid.
Yeah, love that I didn't even know who your wife's name was. Like that's how.
Yeah.
I
Do you
was.
know what it is now?
Of course, Mallory. I
No,
know
it's
that.
All right, just making sure because you didn't say it.
Yeah, he said it's not Mallory. You think it's Mallory?
Stop trying to
No.
gaslight me.
Yeah, no.
Stop trying to gaslight me.
All right.
No, but I think because of what I've been able to see and what I've been able to meet and the kind of people I've been able to meet, I think that this camp is definitely like a camp where I can definitely I would want to take my kids here in the next 15 years. Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out when am I gonna have kids. I was trying to count that out.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Within 15 years?
I'll be.
Yeah, you said you're gonna send this kid here in 15 years. They have to be 8.
I'll be 35.
So it's gonna be like a.
Okay, we'll do 20. We'll do 20. Wait. Yeah, we'll do 20.
It's getting worse, not better.
You're gonna be old. Anyway, so you're gonna send your kids here.
When
So
you're
I
70?
So
Why
anyway-
did it cost you so much to send your kids here?
Okay, so I think because of how wonderful I've got to know everyone and how wonderful and welcoming this staff is, I think that in this camp, not only can everyone feel a sense of welcoming and a sense of, hey, I'm very happy to belong here and I've always got someone to talk to. This camp is a really good way to meet Jesus because I definitely sense some sort of revival happening someday at this camp. One time at my college, there was a revival, like a 14-hour
Yeah.
campus service, and it really moved me. So I keep picturing it happening at this camp. I don't know
Okay.
when, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen, and I feel like there's going to be some sort of Jesus movement. If you guys ever saw the movie that came out recently,
What's the movie called?
Jesus Culture, Jesus Movement, or something like that.
Jesus Revolution.
Jesus Revolution, yeah. Something I feel like because that was back in the 70s. I feel like this is a perfect decade, 50 years later, that something like this could happen. But parents, if you're listening, this camp, it's a perfect camp for your kid to not only be welcomed, to not only be happy here, but for him to find out what the gospel really is and who Jesus really is and his full potential and to meet him really well.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate all of your time, and now it is time for you guys to go to bed. I'm holding them up.
Oh, no.
They need sleep.
It's lights out.
Tomorrow we're going through we went through all our training. We got all of what we wanted to get down in terms of preparing everybody, and this week we are running through the schedule to make sure we have the schedule down to keep the kids on task. So they need their sleep. Hopefully, if you listen to this, you listen to the whole thing. You get some good input that you needed for camp. You get to know the counselors a little bit. Eli, Ethan, Julia, thanks for sharing. Tomorrow we'll have a whole nother group. And if you enjoy this podcast, what was it called again? I don't remember what it is.
Something about the pilot?
Standing before
Standing
Pilate.
before-
Standing before Pilate, that's right.
Or we can also make
I'm
it-
apparently the Inquisitor, and you guys did a great job, so I'll let you go free. You get to live another day.
Awesome.
Gorgeous.
We can also make the title gaslighting just for you.
No.